In other business news, financial confidence among South Africans continues to wane, with fresh surveys finding that only 2 out of every 5 consumers can withstand a setback. The Sanlam Financial Confidence Index is the latest in a slew of data revealing how the financial wellness of South Africans is increasingly declining. The report has also found that the majority live from one paycheck to the next, most without any financial safety net. However, the study, which reflects a slight improvement with a score of 47 index points, says there's some optimism among the Generation Z. Business science and performance specialist Dr Mavis Mazhura speaks to us about these developments. Thank you so much for your time. A two-sided coin of a story here, but let's start with some of the key components. There's the issue around financial resilience, and we are seeing in the South African landscape that it's starting to dwindle even further. Talk to us about what the study has found this time around.
Thank you for me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mazhura. It seems you hadn't unmuted yourself yet, but you may proceed from where we asked the question about financial resilience.
Right. So what we are seeing in terms of financial resilience is that, yes, there is challenges in terms of building, the ability to bounce back from financial challenges. But I think to your point earlier on, we've seen also a stability on the financial confidence index, where last year it was 47, this year it is 47. So yes, there are challenges, but there is hope because we are seeing the stability in the actual financial confidence index itself.
Based on the resilience element, what's to be said about overall well-being when it comes to finances? Because the broader picture is that almost 2 decades on, South Africans have been seeing a decline, and household budgets are not coping with the current climate.
Right. So I think one of the things that is interesting is that the context is changing, right? So we've seen an increase in interest rates. We've seen an increase in repo rates. So that also, yes, has been challenging in terms of people having to adapt. And we've seen that salaries have not actually been increasing at the same pace of the interest rates and the repo rates. So yes, there is that challenge, but I think what it is also forcing us to do is to be able to actually be more intentional about our finances, be able to actually engage with our finances, be able to really go back to the basics, the hygiene factors around money, to do the budgeting, to do the self-determination, to be able to determine, to say, based on what I'm currently earning, if repo rates increase by 10% at the end of the year, what I'm carrying in terms of credit, will this be able to be sustainable for me as an individual? So I think it's really asking of us to be able to engage with our money even more. Yes, there is the decline, but I think there's also the awareness, because that's what we're seeing. There's also the awareness where we are more intentional around our money, and we're also being intentional about where we are spending our money. So the self-determination piece is coming in to help us to actually regulate ourselves when we're spending our monies.
Self-regulation is of utmost importance at this time, because needs and wants have kind of come to an area where the lines are blurred. And I'm interested in finding out about the sectors in the South African economic participation level that are severely affected by where we sit in terms of the environment and financial climate, because we do know that the lower end of the South African participants feel the brunt far worse than the middle income, so to speak.
That's correct, and we see that from the results where there's a correlation between the income you earn, the level of education, and the financial confidence. So yes, if you're earning below 15,000 and 15,000 rands and below, you're probably likely to feel the brunt even more, because then you are also stuck in the survival mode. So what we also see is that once you are in that range where your confidence is lower, chances of you thinking about how to get out of that situation are lower, because you're stuck with negative emotions, the frustration, the sadness, and even the anxiety that comes with not being able to meet your day-to-day financial demands. However, we know that, we need to be able to then think about, how do I get out of this situation? So really taking that autonomy and being able to make the financial choices to say, do I need to learn? Do I need to self-determine to say, okay, based on where I am, can I think about how do I grow myself to increase my income with 10% in the next year or two? Because if we leave it to, just the normal income increases, maybe company increases, for example, if you leave it to that, that means that you're actually out of control of your finances, but also you're more reactionary. You're just really taking what's coming your way. So I think it's really, yes, we're experiencing the negative emotions and the negative brand, but the question becomes, how do I come out of it? How do I self-determine? How do I take responsibility and autonomy, activate my own autonomy and choice to be able to come up with behaviors that are going to help me to come out of it?
As a parting shot, I suspect the latter is exactly what the Gen Zs are optimistic about, and maybe at a tangible and practical aspect, this group is more resilient than the rest of the economic participants. Talk to us about that side of the study's findings.
Right. So they have an advantage, obviously, of being, like a third layer on where they can depend on the people below them. Right. So they have an advantage of that, but they also have an advantage of access to information. So they are learning and developing their financial literacy faster, but also more than the previous groups below them, right? So they have access to information, but also they are more about their well-being. So they're intentional about, not wanting to buy the house just because I need to buy the house, or society says I need to buy the house. So they're more intentional about, where are they are spending their money and really guarding their well-being. And so they are, managing their finances, learning about finances, setting different financial goals than the people that are below them. So I think that is very interesting. And that way, they're then being resilient because they are more self-determining than the group below, where maybe sometimes you engaged in financial behaviors based on social conditioning. They are self-determining. They are deciding what they want to do with their money, which is very interesting, but also seeing that, resulting in the resilience that is coming with that.
A fascinating outlook there. Dr. Mavis Mazhura speaking to us about the latest Sanlam Financial behavior as well as a confidence index there, given the current economic times that are quite tough still.